I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our Insider Insight Show and our Operation Freedom platform and our ongoing series with Dr. Peter Glidden from OperationFreedomHealth.com about, well, what you can do to enhance your health and your wellness. Okay, Reader's Digest version. It doesn't involve big pharma, big medicine, or big insurance, or the AMA, or you name it. It's all about you, your education, and therefore your empowerment with the information that Peter provides about your nutritional well-being. The title of today's presentation is It's All About Your Gut. This is about absorption. This is about maximizing the effect of the nutrients that you take in your body. Now, a little background on Peter. As you know from our series, we've done many dozens of these. Peter is a phenomenal clinician, researcher, spokesperson, lecturer. He's also a phenomenal author. I encourage you to get his two books, Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine. They are available on gliddenhealth.com. They are available through links on OperationFreedomHealth.com. They're available at Amazon. It's my honor to welcome back my friend, Dr. Peter Glidden. Peter, welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform.
Thanks, Dave. It's another crazy day in 2021. It's unbelievable what's going on out there.
Yeah, it is. Let's go to something more pleasurable than that. Let's talk about it's all about your gut.
Well, it's in naturopathic medicine, the foundation belief, which is a correct belief, it's a natural law as far as we're concerned. The human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body's trying to fix itself. How do we know that? Well, because our bodies grew themselves by themselves from a single cell into us. And they're managing at this very moment hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of biochemical reactions, all automatically. Everything's outside of your conscious control. Mm-hmm. So, and when we provide therapeutically treatments for people with different health conditions, and the intention of the treatment is to stimulate the body's ability to fix itself, we get results. And that's why my profession, the least understood profession in the United States right now, the naturopathic medical profession, our moniker is science-based, clinically verified, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We marry science with the holistic method, and then we apply it clinically, and then we report on what happens. And so easiest thing in the world to do is to help your body help itself. And the first place to go when you are attempting to do that is with the digestive tract. Because if your digestive tract is messed up, everything's going to be messed up, because your body needs raw materials in order to optimize its structure and function. And the raw materials are assimilated in the digestive tract. Mm-hmm. So if your digestive tract is out of whack, right? If your digestive tract has come off the track, then you need to get it back on. And when you do that, not only do your GI issues clear up, but your absorption of nutrients optimizes, and little complaints start to fall by the wayside. It's like watching ice melt in the springtime. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And the most ironic thing about it is it's super easy to do.
So let's talk about it. So let's talk about what can be done to normalize the digestive tract, to enhance absorption, to enhance the nutrition that you're taking in, which can affect you every system in your body, and including, many people say, well, I have these hormonal issues. Well, wait, many of these hormonal issues can be rectified by solving the gut issues and the absorption of the nutrients that need to be taken.
100%. Right. So, everything, this is the roots of the tree, if you will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got to have a good digestion or you're SOL.
Right.
So what do we do? Well, the first thing we do is we stop eating food that's coming up the works.
Okay.
So we've identified 12 foods that are inappropriate for the human body, and that list is available at Operation Freedom Health for free, by the way. Mm-hmm. plus information that explains why they're bad for you. You don't put diesel fuel in an unleaded engine, so you stop eating these foods. No complaining, no moaning. Just stop eating these foods, for goodness sakes, because they're not good for you. Number one. Number two, you have to support healthy stomach acid.
Oh,
healthy
important.
stomach acid and a healthy small intestine, because the small intestine is where all nutrients that you get either from a nutritional supplement or from food or a beverage gets absorbed. It's the small intestine. That's the gateway inside the body, which brings up an interesting little clinical pearl, if you will. And when my physiology instructor explained this to me, it took me a couple of minutes to grok it, and then my head exploded. But your digestive tract is like one big tube, right? It goes from the mouth to the South Pole.
Right. It's
one big tube, right? It gets bigger and smaller in different parts of the anatomy. When something is inside that tube, it's outside the body.
True.
Stuff doesn't get inside the body until it absorbs through the tissues in the tube. Interesting. That absorption happens in the small intestine. So if you consistently eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which contain a gluten protein, the gluten protein, being really difficult for the stomach to digest, will damage the tissues in the small intestine that try to absorb things. And, you know, it happens on a microscopic level, but it's like the straws that broke the camel's back. A little bit for breakfast, a little bit for lunch, a little bit for dinner, a little bit for snack, every week, every month, every year, and then something breaks. And it was because of the buildup of this all of the time. I mean, you can only smoke so many cigarettes before you get lung cancer, for goodness sakes.
Right.
So super important to stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which are big offenders of the small intestine, plus the other 8 bad foods. Number one. Number two, the digestive process in the human body is like a series of dominoes, each one knocking the other one over, and they all have to be there. So the most important domino in that chain is the stomach domino. The stomach needs to have super strong, super healthy stomach acid. It's actually a mixture of enzymes and hormones, the collective nature of which is called digestive chyme, okay? But mostly it's digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, and pepsin and things like that. But if that slurry, if that digestive juice is not strong enough, it's not going to be able to take apart the food that you've just swallowed, to dissolve the food that you've just swallowed, and render it into a substance, a size actually, that's going to be able to be absorbed by the small intestine. So you got to have super healthy stomach acid, and this is where there's another big disconnect with conventional medicine and holistic medicine. Heartburn is a giant problem, not only in the United States, but all around the world. And every medical doctor in the world will tell you that heartburn is caused by too much stomach acid. It's too much stomach acid. I mean, it's common sense. You've got acid coming up into your throat. It's too much stomach acid. Well, no, it's not.
No,
it's not enough stomach acid.
Right. And it allows that sphincter to open, which causes the reflux.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward physiology, anatomy and physiology, which goes over the head of most medical professionals because they listen to the pharmaceutical rep more than they read the literature. Right? I think proton pump inhibitors and antacids, and don't quote me on this, I think it's either the third or the fourth most abundant selling prescription medicines in the world. And this is a problem because what those drugs do is they completely obliterate your stomach's ability to create any digestive juice whatsoever. It just completely removes that domino. It doesn't cut it in a third or in a half or in 3/4. It removes it completely. So no more stomach acid at all. That's not good, because now you've got undigested food rolling through the small intestine. That's going to cause more damage, number one. And number two, you aren't going to be able to absorb the nutrients from it. So the more food that you eat, the less nutrients you have. You have calories, but you have less nutrients. And what happens when you have a lot of calories, not enough nutrients? You gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I digress. So we need to have super healthy stomach acid in order to have optimal health.
Right.
And the founder of Good Herbs, the company that we recommend different products with, available through Longevity, he had a remarkable testimonial. This guy, his first name is Brett. He was heavily involved with the naturopathic community for 20 years. I mean, that was his market.
Mm-hmm.
The botanical medicines that he produced were sold to naturopaths around the country, and they loved it because it's such high quality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This was before he got on board with Longevity. And for his entire life, he suffered with GI issues. He had bad constipation, he had bad bloating, bad gas, and reflux on and off forever.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me he had tried to fix that with over 100 practitioners over the course of 20 years. 100 practitioners, at least, over the course of 20 years, nothing worked. The very first time I met him, we were at a Longevity convention someplace, and he kind of asked me in passing, I think as by way of a test, well, what do you do to help your digestion? And I said, that's easy, more salt and more calcium. And I walked away. 3 months later, he calls me up. He said, Doc, you've changed my life. I said, what are you talking about? Who are you, by the way? Right? He said, I've been suffering with GI issues my entire life. They went away in about 3-4 weeks after I did what you told me to do. I said, really? What did I tell you to do?
Right.
Because I'd forgotten, right? He said, you said more calcium, more salt. I said, that's right. I would tell you to do that. And he did it, and voila, lifelong problems with his digestive tract disappear. And then, of course, not only does he get the benefit from that, but then as time goes by, just like you experienced, as you continue to take the other supplements instead of just salt and calcium, but the other 90 essential nutrients, other switches start to get flipped in the body because, well, wait a minute, all of a sudden the body it's got what it needs. Mm-hmm. And that's a game changer.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So in order to have a healthy digestive system, mm-hmm. eliminate gluten, take the 90 essential nutrients. If you are suffering with heartburn or acid reflux mm-hmm. or constipation, gas, or diarrhea, then take extra calcium. Little bits at a time, incrementally increase your dose, 1, 2, 3 ounces a day, and stay there until you're better. And that's, it's a broad brush, generic recommendations, but it's a pretty good idea to stop drinking upstream and stop drinking downstream and peeing upstream. Those are also broad brush recommendations, very helpful. So this is what we do. We take the 90 essential nutrients, extra calcium, which is the Beyond OsteoFX, and you start salting your food so that it tastes good. And for goodness sakes, if you are on a proton pump inhibitor or an antacid, you need to seriously reconsider getting a different doctor as your primary care practitioner, because those people are not paying attention to the literature. They're lazy. They're not paying attention to the literature. And wean yourself, do this program for 2-3 weeks, and then start weaning yourself with the pharmacist's supervision off of the antacids and the proton pump inhibitors, and bada bing, bada boom, Bob's your uncle. You're going to love how you feel.
And that OsteoFX is a component of the 90 essential nutrients that we have in the foundation pack that's available on OperationFreedomHealth.com. Full disclosure, purchase of the products does help this platform. But the OsteoFX is a critical component of that foundation pack.
It's huge. And The OsteoFX, which is a mineral supplement with an emphasis on calcium and magnesium, is manufactured in such a way that the calcium and the magnesium in it are super easy for the body to absorb.
Right.
If you were to just go to the health food store and get a calcium supplement, or calcium CalMag supplement over the counter in a bottle, and I figured this out one day. It actually took me about a week to figure it out. And again, there's calcium citrate or calcium carbonate or calcium hydroxyapatite, and there's cofactors, whatever. Generally speaking, with even a really, really good, like high-end calcium supplement that you could get at a health food store, in order to meet your body's calcium needs on a daily basis, you would need to swallow 30 capsules a day.
Ooh.
30. There's 60 in the bottle, mostly. So you would need, what's that? So you would need, 15 bottles a month. Who's going to do that?
No.
Nobody's going to do that. You need one bottle of the Beyond OsteoFX because science married with clinical outcomes, right? This is nobody's doing this. So there's a couple people that are doing this, couple companies in the world that are doing it. Nobody does it like Longevity does it. And I know because I've been in this industry for over 30 years, for goodness sakes. And, the proof of the pudding's in the eating, as the fella said.
Now, Peter, another component of this is the flora, the bacteria that are in the gut. And educate our listeners on the flora and what can be done for that. So,
really interesting. There's something in the wonderful world of biology referred to as symbiosis. A symbiosis is when two organisms have a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not a parasitic relationship. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. So, in order for our bodies to digest, assimilate, and eliminate stuff, a big component of that, and this is at the tail end of the domino chain, stomach acids at the front end, at the tail end of the domino chain are probiotic bacteria. These are things like Escherichia coli that the body needs in order to function properly, because over time it has developed, God only knows how that happened, a symbiotic relationship with these bugs. There are billions with a B of beneficial bacteria living in your digestive tract right now. And guess what? They're living organisms, just like a house plant. If you don't water the house plant, don't give the house plant the right kind of fertilizer, the right kind of sun exposure, it's going to die. So, guess who's developed a way to support and promote the healthy function of gut bacteria? Well, that would be, let me think, longevity. Because the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which again is not an extra add-on, it's part of the foundation pack,
right,
contains inside of it not only probiotics, which are the strains of the beneficial bacteria themselves, but also prebiotics, which is like food for those bacteria, fertilizer for the plant, so to speak. I know I'm mixing metaphors, but you get it. So, we've got you covered at the beginning of the domino chain with the osteo and the salt. We've got you covered in the middle of the domino chain with elimination of the 12 bad foods. And we've got you covered at the end of the domino chain with the pre and probiotics. And this is a really nice kind of microcosmic example of holism. Because this is the holistic method. This is the holistic method. You don't just support the stomach. You don't just support the gallbladder. You don't just support the liver. You don't just support the colon. You do the whole schmear.
That's right.
Because you can, and because it's much, much, much better that way.
And there's a product also called Microbiome, correct? That can be a benefit.
Yes. Now, again, our whole thing here, right? We do this in steps.
Right.
So we got to have the foundation.
Right.
So you got to eliminate the bad foods. You got to give your body the stuff it needs for all the dominoes, right? And that's in the 90 essential nutrients. Because most people walking around on planet Earth have had nutrient deficiencies their entire life, been on a salt-restricted diet, and not enough calcium. And calcium and salt, in my opinion, salt because of bad medical recommendations, and calcium just because it's hard to get calcium into the body from the food sources. Most people are very deficient in both of those. And when they're deficient in both of those, their gut is going to suffer first. Other things in the body will suffer, but the gut suffers first. So most people have had weak digestive tracts their entire life. And by entire life, I mean their entire life. And so now they see the light and they listen to what we say and they want to experiment with it and see if it works, and it always works. So they eliminate the 12 bad foods. They do the 90 essential nutrients. And because of the history that I just elucidated with, not enough nutrients for the gut, it's a really smart idea. At some point in your first 6 months of doing the longevity stuff, and then once you've done the longevity stuff, once a year, to add into the program a product called the Ultimate Microbiome.
Okay.
And the Ultimate Microbiome is kind of like, in the springtime, you get the Scott's fertilizer out in your yard.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you do that, your yard looks way better than your neighbor's yard. Right? And it does. Because it's a special ingredients to help it grow. Well, the Ultimate Microbiome, special ingredients to help the gut flora be strong and flourish. Now, that's not something you need to do all the time, like the 90 essential nutrients and the dietary discipline, but it beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, and it's a really smart thing to do once or twice a year, again, because the digestive tract is so very important for everything else.
Peter, educate our listeners on your books and your website.
Read my books. Go to my website.
GliddenHealth.com, right?
Actually, Glidden.healthcare.
Oh, Glidden.healthcare. I'm sorry.
Or drglidden.com, whatever. Just do a Google search for Dr. Glidden. Go wherever the heck it takes you. We also have a link at Operation Freedom Health. I've got all kinds of comprehensive educational material online, easy to learn, easy to understand stuff that you weren't taught in high school biology, stuff that you need to know, alternative points of view regarding high blood pressure and arthritis and osteoporosis and you name it. All, by the way, science-based, clinically verified, developed and delivered by licensed holistic physicians with decades of clinical experience. So, when you look up I had another aha moment, Dave, when I graduated medical school, and someone told me, and I don't know why I didn't know this, but I had to be taught this, that in Latin, the word doctor is docere, which means teacher. So that really hit me. And so I've kind of taken up that mission to help educate people, to help teach people. Because, in the early 1900s, when the AMA cornered the market on medicine, and it was a hostile takeover of medicine, they ensconced the pharmaceutical industry into first place. They also instituted a language monopoly, and they started teaching medicine in Latin and all the medical terminology in Latin. And that was done to keep lay people out of the loop, and also to reinforce the false notion that medicine is this really complicated thing that only brainiacs can figure out, right? It's a lie. So one of the things I'm really good at, because I've trained myself to be good at, is explaining medical things to people, because it's really not that complicated. You just need somebody to walk you through it. And I'm your huckleberry, and that's just my job.
Well, and we appreciate that, Peter. You've helped millions of people because of your ability to educate and empower them. You know, Peter and I also last week did a video called Big Medicine Dissected. It is not on what I call YawnTube, because they would not allow the content to last more than 14 nanoseconds. But it is on our Rumble channel, Operation Freedom on our Rumble channel. The products we discussed today are available on OperationFreedomHealth.com, and the further content, along with Peter's books, are on drglidden.com. Thank you, Peter, for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Thank you for your perseverance, sacrifice, and dedication to educating and empowering the public. And thank you, folks, for joining us today. Until next time, Dave Janis signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.